Hi, everyone. I am so excited for the author that I am going to be introducing to you now. So, welcome. And we're going to be bringing Sonja on. She has written an amazing book for both life and business. So, there's something for everyone in this book. So, welcome, Sonja.
Hello, it's launch day. We are finally here. Hello, hello, hello.
We are. And the amazing book, which you can see in the bookshelf and you can see here, is the fantastic Search for Resilience. And look at that. That's a decent read right there. So I love the Search for Resilience, Awaken the Warrior in Business and Life. But before we get stuck into the book, Sonja, tell us a little bit about why you wrote this book.
So many reasons, right? So, do you know when you get these crazy ideas that you're like, oh, you know what? I'm going to write a book one day. And you're like, oh, yeah, wishful thinking, Sonia. Okay, cool, another crazy idea. But honestly, it was something that in 2020, I was going through a really dark time of my life, which is my fertility journey. And at the time, I said to myself, if I ever get to decide and have the honor of becoming some beautiful soul's mama, I am going to share my message openly because I really genuinely never thought I would get out of the darkness, genuinely. And I was like, well, if that does happen, I'm going to hold myself accountable and I'm going to speak openly about it because nobody is speaking openly about societal issues, which are fertility issues. And I know, and I totally understand why, because it's such a private thing to go through. But at the same time, there is so much connection and so much opportunity to allow yourself to be supported and held in a very fragile time if you can drop the guard a little bit, but also if you can start normalizing the conversation. Because I felt at the time I was the only person in the world going through the darkest shadow of my soul. And the reality is that's just not true because I came across so many different communities and just everybody didn't want to be seen to be broken. And the reality of the situation, there are multiple factors as to why people try and have kids. It's not always like the woman's the issue or the man's the issue or it's a multiple. There's a whole variety of reasons why it's so hard to bring a soul into the world. So I was there to myself, I'm like, well, surely I'm fucking going through this for a reason. And my biggest why as to why I started my business was to work around my kids. And at the time, I didn't know it, but I actually was getting exactly what I asked for. Because let's be real, if I fell pregnant straight after I got married, like everyone in Ireland does, it's like, oh, you got married when you're having kids. That's the common question everybody asks. If I actually got what I wanted and was able to fall pregnant at the time, I wouldn't have this absolutely beast of a business that I have today because now I get to work around my kids. I get to work around their needs. I get to work from home. I do have an office, but I just choose not to leave my home because every hour of every minute is so precious with my children. So if I look back and I connect dots, that's exactly what I asked for, just on the package I asked for. And genuinely, the story is not about me anymore. It's about the impact and the lives it's going to change. And when you're no longer attached to the story or the victim mentality, you can share from a place of victory. And that for me is what this is about. It's a legacy piece I want to leave behind long after I am no longer on this planet. And what a humbling thought that my kids will pick up this book in time to come, knowing how much me and their dad fought very hard for them. And not only I've no doubt my kids are going to be inspired by me, but like knowing that they can achieve anything they put their mind to because they saw their mama do it. So I think for me, it was a very important message that I wanted to share. And fertility was the catalyst as to why my business is what it is today. Because if I didn't have the answer to achieve my ultimate goal of becoming a mom, I wouldn't have went through the darkness to get to the light and have my two beautiful babies that I have today.
Yeah.
But I did.
And you're absolutely right. It's about having what you want, but sometimes you aren't realizing that you're asking for it. And then it all makes sense after the fact. But what I think is so great in you being able to share so vulnerably and so openly is that readers can get insights into that in their own life. And that's what I love about when people are really raw and share this, even just the fertility journey that is their biggest struggle. It can be something else. And I know I align very much with working around the children. My adult daughters is work in the business, but they've always, I've always worked around my children and my business. And there's things that, like you said, you look back at. But when you are on your journey, no matter what that hard time is, by you sharing your story, we can all as readers see something in it for ourselves. And so that's where I say, who's this book for? Well, really, it's not just for people that might be struggling with fertility. Yeah,
absolutely not. It's for anyone that is going through a really tough time, or anyone that needs a bit of a guidebook to show you how to not sidestep the war zone, but tackle the war zone head on, like a warrior that you are, because sometimes this warrior is actually asleep. So this book is going to coax you to unleash that warrior within, because honestly, whether it's fertility, whether it's grief, whether it's loss, whether it's a breakup, whether it's patterns, whether it's abuse, whether it's this, whether it's that, you need a certain amount of tools in your toolbox to be able to withstand life's challenges. So for me, fertility was the catalyst. For others, it could be mental health challenges. It could be childhood trauma. It could be all of the above. And I speak very openly about stuff that I went through in the book, because fertility was just the icing on the cherry on top. I was like, okay, I really have to sort my past out, or I really have to sort this out if I really want to be a mom. But it was the journey of becoming home to myself and learning who really Sonia is on the inside, and knowing that the greatest relationship you would ever have in this entire human experience is the relationship you have with yourself. Because everything comes back to you. Everything comes back to like how you see yourself, your self-worth, whatever you feel you are lacking. You're not lacking anything because you're being outwardly influenced. But when you're inwardly fluent and you have the right tools to keep you grounded in who you are and what you stand for, and embrace your individuality and show up with compassion and full open-hearted, people feel the heart and they feel when you come from the right place. But the way I see it as well, like for me, fertility was just the catalyst. But if we keep seeing, like in life, you could have a tremendous amount of loss. So if I was to say, poor me, I'm fertility journey, yada, 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 the reality is what I perceive somebody else to be lucky in their life have it shitter in another aspect of their life.
I'm just going to throw it at you, and it's about how I always say it's 10% of, sometimes even 5% of what happens, and 90% of how you react to that. How are you going to take that on, and what are you going to do about it? Because otherwise that 10% can affect 100% of your life if you allow it. So you're absolutely spot on there. And as you said, there's so much in this book. If I was to kind of say 3 kind of things, or some major things that someone would get out of reading this book, because as I said, this is a good read. There's some amazing things in there. There's so much for the reader.
I didn't realize I had so much to say, Susan.
Just birthed the baby
8 months ago,
and birthed the book,
and another baby 2 years and 9 months ago. So I popped out 2 babies in 3 years. Well,
book baby and a book baby.
And a book baby and a business baby. Yeah, life is very fun.
Yes. So tell me, what are some key things that the readers are going to get for themselves out of reading this book?
Recognizing their harmful patterns. Like we all have patterns, and recognizing how we show up to life and how we treat life is you're going to get exactly what you put out there. So again, if you are attracting the wrong relationship, or if you're attracting the wrong friends that drain you, or if you're ending up in toxic work environments, like we all have the choice. But I think the key is to having that self-awareness and know that actually it's about time I actually take accountability for myself, because I am actually contributing to this pattern keeping happening. But at the same time, if you're not aware of your pattern, you're never going to change it. So the first step is obviously awareness around that. You know that I have a whole chapter dedicated to stop pointing fingers and take responsibility. So what we judge in others, we're actually condoning in other people, because we're not willing to face that shadow of ourselves. Yeah. And I learned this through a lot of the work that I did with my coach's MJD seminars, but I also have done a lot of plant medicine. So I've seen the practical side of it, the theoretical side of it, and I've also experienced a physical experience about like the more we judge in others, the more we're disconnected from ourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the people that do well in life tend to not blame others for shit going wrong in their lives. It's actually becoming a victor of your own life and taking responsibility and grow up. And I think the more that we start blaming others, we're just pushing further and further away the life that we actually want. Like, life is beautiful. It can also be chaos, but you have the choice based on how you show up to battle. So that's it. Can be like, there's a lot of chapters in this that can be very confronting for people, because it probably like, oof, that's a bit triggering. But that was what the intent is. It's to make you interrupt your patterns and it make you think a different way. Unless we're aware of the toxic patterns that are keeping us safe and keeping us stuck, you're never going to get past the same shit that keeps happening to you.
Exactly. And I mean, if we're wanting to make a difference to our own lives, we need to invest in ourselves. And I mean, the price of a book is ridiculous for you putting all of your heart, your soul, your experiences, your learnings that you've done into a book. So I'm, of course, a lover of books, created my own publishing company to help others share their message, because I believe that books can really change someone's life, and if not save someone's life. So where can these people get this book from?
I will go into that because I think I forgot my third point, which is the third learning that you will learn is boundaries and the importance of boundaries, because boundaries is the most self-loving thing you can do for yourself and others. Sometimes people aren't aware of what your boundaries are, and when you have leaky boundaries, you will get hurt time and time again. You'll fall on your ass time and time again. So it's very important to determine what you will allow and won't allow in your life. And boundaries will actually be able to help you be the person that you're meant to be, but it is up to you to communicate what that looks like. How people can get there. Sorry, I thought that was a very important point to share. And that's not just boundaries with people, that's also boundaries with your phone.
Yeah, no, a lot of times you forget about those boundaries, especially if you're someone wanting to help others, which is essentially who you are. And I know myself and so many people, when you are someone that is genuinely wanting to help others and share your message, you can forget about boundaries and in other areas. And that's really important. So delving into all these areas, it's like a self-development about working on self. And like you said, there's so much jam-packed in this book that's going to help shock. It's going to have people in probably a bit of tears and wow, how did you get through that? And lots of other things like that. But there's so much value jam-packed in this. We could be talking all night, but I want people to grab this book and to share this book. So I know I've seen you in bookstores, which is awesome, and stacked in. Tell us, where can they get this book?
You can get this book in any major bookstore. So you have Beauty Book, you have WH Smith, you have Amazon. If you're in America watching this, Barnes and Noble, Japan, Singapore, UK, you name it. It's everywhere. It's online. If you search online, you get it. But at the same time, what I love is support in the bookstores, because I'm a first-time author, right? And basically, the bookstore is relying on people actually going in requesting it in case of the book is going to fly off the shelves. So I would love if you are near your local bookstore that I've just mentioned, that if you go in and ask for the book and take a copy, share on social, share the love, because this book is not about me. And honestly, for the price that it actually is, like, and what I've paid in personal development work myself, I've spent over 350 grand on personal development work over the last 7 years trying to find answers. It's all of my blood, sweat, and tears, my hard lessons in this book. So you can actually take a short circuit and not fall on your ass. You can actually read this book and literally not make the mistakes that I did. But there's no mistakes, there's only lessons. You used to get a fast track guide on what those lessons are, so you can make the most amazing life for yourself, because I surely feel that I'm living very much on purpose and I'm living the life of my wildest dreams. I every day feel very humbled that this is my life and that I've chosen the path less traveled. I face the shadow work and I face the demons. I'm a continuous work in progress. I don't have ownership for doing that all the time. I think we are all works in progress, and if we're not humbled by life, well, then we're not really growing either, because we need to remain in our lane.
Yeah. And for less than a cup of coffee and a sandwich, honestly, you can get all of that knowledge in the book. And like I
And
said,
it's Mother's Day coming up.
yeah, Amazon reviews is really good in
Amazon reviews.
helping get
Yeah.
it out there, and take some photos, you know, of yourself, I'm sure, and share that book, share yourself getting the book as well, because you don't know, as readers start reading this, they don't know when they've made a difference in their own lives. By them sharing too, it helps them make a difference in someone else that may pick up the book, and you just don't know what impact that can have on someone's life. You wanted to say something else in closing?
I did. It's Mother's Day coming up on Sunday, the 11th of May. And for me personally, Mother's Day was always a very tough time. Going through when I was learning to be a mom. But however, like, it can be a rough time regardless if you're going through fertility or not. So this is like the perfect Mother's Day gift you could give anybody. And again, it's about becoming the warrior. It's not necessarily just all about fertility. It's about giving you that guidebook to withstand life's toughest battles. So you don't have to figure it out all on your own. It's in this book. So I am incredibly humbled and grateful for all the support that everybody has shown. It's honestly such an honor to witness and allow myself to receive the support and the love from all angles and all my sisterhoods. And it's just, yeah, honestly, it's truly inspiring to feel like I have all these legends in my life really believing in the message of this book. And obviously your team, Susan, oh my goodness, like, you guys are honestly, I mean, I do want to take a moment to talk about the process of writing the book. You honestly, the whole team, the whole lot of you have been amazing. A massive shout out to Natalie, I always say, because she's really worked very closely with me with getting the tone and my voice very accurately, because obviously me being Irish, I have so much to say. So she was able to really make my message really succinct and really kind of get the core essence of what I'm trying to say out in a respectful, tasteful way. So I'm just beyond grateful that you guys have been part of the legacy piece that I will really be leaving around for many generations to come, including my beautiful great grandchildren and years to come and generations to come. Like, what a beautiful thought that is.
Writing a book like yourself and leaving that legacy in the world, it's all that you went through, all that lessons. If we don't leave that out into the world, that's like you said, whether you birth a child or birth a book, you're leaving something in the world that is going to be here when you're gone. So thank you so much for sharing this with us. We've absolutely loved helping bring this book to life. And now it's just about getting out there, purchasing this book and sharing your message with the world. So thank you so much. And bye for now. Go get
Thank
the
you
book.
so much for having me, Susan. Go to your local bookstore, please. Honestly, this 90-day period is, please go, please support as much as you can. I'd be eternally grateful. Thank you, Susan.
Thank you.
You are so welcome.